another reason why we want to learn Azure data engineering. It is the most in-demand role in the market, and it is going to give you high pay. The third reason that we want to move to Azure data engineering is because if we generally look at the Microsoft ecosystem, we are already using Power BI, we are using Excel, we are using Power Automate in some of our teams, right? So if we go with Azure, the advantage is that we are going to use the existing Microsoft ecosystem, and we are going to move this cloud migration, whatever cloud migration we are going to do, we are going to integrate that cloud migration with the existing Microsoft ecosystem, and that gives an advantage over using other cloud platforms like AWS or GCP, because integrating Microsoft ecosystem with AWS or GCP is more tedious. So it would be comfortable for any organization who is currently using Microsoft ecosystem to look at Azure, right? So that's another reason why Azure is going to have a bright career in the future. And the other challenge here, or the other opportunity here, is that in today's scenario, um, if you look at how the organizations are implementing the data stuff, they are actually looking at data streaming. We are going to talk about these terms in the upcoming session. This is just an introduction about these terms. So people are talking about streaming of data. They are talking about the data lake. Data lake is just a platform. We'll talk about it. Lakehouse architecture also we have in the upcoming session. So it's a combination of a data warehouse and a data lake. So that is also going to be discussed. But these are some of the industry standards that are going to happen today, and that are going to change the way data is stored. So that is another reason why we need to go ahead with data engineering. Okay. Now, if you look at the roles that you can grow into after doing this course, it would be Azure Data Engineer, straightforward role. Other than Azure Data Engineer, depending on the overall experience you have, let's say if you are over 8 or 9 years of experience, you could also transition into a role called Azure Data Architect. We are going to talk about the difference between data engineer and data architect in the upcoming sessions. We can also look at PySpark developer role, which is specific to working on PySpark applications. It's not a full end-to-end data engineer role, but it's a part of PySpark developer is part of data engineer role, right? In case if you would like to pursue a Databricks data engineer role, that can be integrated with other cloud platforms as well. So that is also an option that is also in demand. We will talk about why Databricks is the leading data plus AI tool in the market today. Some of the organizations are also having this analytics engineer profile who is similar to Azure data engineer, but they just call them as analytics engineer, right? So these are some of the points that why we need to learn Azure data engineering today. I'm sure you might have already gone through some of the other reasons why we need Azure data engineering today, right? So moving on, how is the future of data engineering going to look like? If you look at the current scenario in terms of data, the data is growing every day, guys. So it is going at a rapid pace, and the volume of the data is unpredictable. I mean, there are terabytes, petabytes of data generating every single day. If you consider companies like Amazon or Flipkart or any other big MNCs, right? So because of the data volume getting increased, the requirement of processing
Oh,
that data is also increased. Yeah, go ahead. You have any questions?
Maybe I have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like you mentioned, it's a 30-day program. Is it possible for us to complete the course in 30 days with with all the concepts? I was just
Yes.
curious.
Yes. So the course is designed in a way that I mean, we'll talk about the course curriculum in the upcoming slides, but the course is designed in a way that we are going to start with basics. When I say basics, I'm assuming that you are fresher with with 0 years of experience. We are going to touch base on every single topic as a basic, and then we'll slowly pick the pace and we'll move till a point where you suddenly become a data engineer. So when I talk about the curriculum, when I show you how the curriculum is designed, it will be clear as to how we can complete this entire thing in 30 days.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And one thing, like you are telling about a PySpark. So I don't have any experience to PySpark. Is it? Can I pick up in 30 days in the PySpark, and how easy is that PySpark, and how important is that?
Yeah, good question. So if you remember, I have asked you a question as to how much experience or how would you rate yourself on SQL and Python, right?
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
PySpark is a combination of SQL and SQL and
Okay.
Python. So what it does is it is going to use the syntax of Python, and we are
Okay.
just going to write a Python code in a distributed manner. So PySpark is more of a programming language, but the advantage of using PySpark over SQL and Python is that of its behavior. So um, we will talk about it in detail as we progress, but just for your context, what I'm trying to say is if you have a 1 GB file and if you want to read it using Python pandas, if you have a RAM memory that is less than 1 GB in your laptop, assuming a hypothetical scenario that your RAM is less than 1 GB, so your system may run into out of memory error, right? Because what Pandas does is it is going to read that entire file into RAM. We are going to talk about this as well, but just to give
Mhm.
you a context. But when we use PySpark, what PySpark does is it will use the same code as Pandas, okay? But the
Okay.
change here is how it is going to process the data. So this 1 GB is going to be divided into multiple files, okay?
Okay.
And multiple computers are going to read this multiple pieces of data at the same time. So that is the advantage of using PySpark over Python pandas. Syntax is same.
Okay.
So if you can understand Python pandas, PySpark
Mm-hmm.
is super easy for you. So we just
Okay.
have to
That's it.
understand how PySpark is processing the data differently. So the processing is the change. The syntax is same.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is the impact of AI to this data engineering role?
Good question. So, what people are trying to do today is that let's say they are preparing. I mean, again, this could be new to you. So, what we do is we are going to prepare a Jupyter notebook. You understand Jupyter notebook, I believe. So, this Jupyter notebooks are hosted in a Databricks or in some other tool outside, which is in Azure, right? So, what we do is when we prepare this notebooks of code, we will struggle with creating the documentation, appropriate documentation. We'll struggle with debugging the issues, and we are going to, we may have to write the code in a way that others can also read it properly, right? So their AI is being used today. So what people are doing is they have integrated AI with this data engineering only
Mhm.
to help them. So AI is not going to replace this data engineering stuff. It is still like we are just taking the help of AI today. That's where we are for documentation, for additional support. We are just using it. It is integrated, but it is not replaceable because data engineering is more of a thinking. Like you will have to solutionize
Yes.
the problem. And
Mm.
problem is different for different organizations. It is different for different sectors. So AI is not ready to replace
Okay.
the existing data
You replace.
engineers. We are
Okay.
just taking the support of AI in building documentations, in building some metrics, in building some PPTs for our demos to product owners and kind of things. But we are not yet there where we could think about replacing data engineers with AI.
Got you. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys, before I proceed? Okay. So we are talking about the volume of the data and how it is shaping up the requirement of data engineers in today's market. Because of the huge volume of data being generated, the demand of data engineering is increasing, right? The other reason why the future of data engineering would be great is because of the cloud native solutions. I mean, we are going to talk about what is on-prem and what is cloud and how they are related, and how they are shifted. But with the context of what we are talking now, um, the organizations have already started moving from their on-premises softwares. So let's say when I say on-prem software, maybe if we talk about SQL Server or Oracle, they have started moving from Oracle being installed on their laptops to Oracle being installed in the cloud. Okay, so that is the meaning of shift from on-prem to cloud. So they have already started moving their existing solutions to cloud-based solutions, and that is another reason why data engineering is going to be a hot topic in the future. Uh, and then if you also look at a concept of data governance and compliance, I'm not sure how many of you have already heard about a case called Nayara. There is a company called Nayara, and there was a regulation issue with this Nayara company. I am sure you might have seen petrol pumps of Nayara in India. I mean, we have it in Hyderabad. So in the Europe, there was a regulatory act that was passed on this data security thing, and this Nayara is part of a Russian company. Okay, Russian company is also having a stake in this Nayara company. So because there was a data restriction on Europe, so the restriction was like our data shouldn't go outside Europe. Okay, so what happened is that because there is Russia who is owning this Nayara stake, and because Europe is against this Russia in the NATO space, it's off topic for now. So what happened is that suddenly they have stopped uh, access to this Nayara's data to all of the users. Okay, so Nayara was using a cloud platform, and in that cloud platform they have stored everything. Suddenly what happened is because of this regulatory act, the cloud platform suddenly stopped providing access to Nayara users to their own data. So the entire Nayara system got down on one particular day without even informing. So that's another reason why it is important to understand data governance and compliance, and how we need to ensure that we are following those practices, right? So the
Okay.
GDPR talks about that. Yeah.
So do you cover this one as well, data governance and compliance?
Yes, we will.
Okay.
We are going to talk about them as to how
Okay.
we can securely access data, how we can identify these GDPR regulatory policies, and how we can erase the data after we process it, so that GDPR is complied. Okay, so that is another reason why data engineering is growing, because we
So,
generally regulate the
mhm.
data as well. We decide how we want to. Um, Provide access to the data, right? So that's another reason. Then we also have some
I
requirements.
see one quick break. Sorry.
Mhm.
I see some dedicated roles for data governance and compliance. So, as a data engineer, can perform this role, or is it a separate topic?
Yeah, good question. So when we talk about data governance related to data engineer, we are only responsible for whatever data we are going to access. So data
Okay.
governance and compliance roles exist in the organization for every single form of data that is going to be coming into that organization. When we talk about data governance in specific to data engineering, we are only accountable for the data that we are
We are
that we are
managing.
managing.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So we need to ensure that we follow this GDPR when we are preparing a data movement from system A to system B.
Okay.
Okay.
So that is a different role. So we know
Yeah.
whatever we manage, that once we learn. Okay, gotcha.
Yes. Whatever.
And what about the fabric? Is it a fabric is related to data engineer or different?
Fabric is a solution that was prepared by Microsoft to integrate multiple services of Microsoft into one solution. Okay, so what they have done is they have prepared a single platform to access multiple services.
Okay.
So what they have proposed is that, okay, instead of you storing a data in location in a different service and then creating an access, you have to access data through an protocol, right? To build
Mhm.
a pipeline. So let's say you are using Databricks, and your data is stored in Azure data storage. So to access data in Databricks from Azure data storage, you need to connect these two. You need to integrate these two in a secure
Okay.
manner. So what Fabric has done is, instead of doing that, you store the data in Fabric, you access the data in Fabric, and you process the data in Fabric. So it is a one-stop solution that they are prepared. But the scenario is that it is still a baby.
Mhm.
It's not something like companies have started completely moving to Fabric, because there are certain challenges with that as well, right? We talked about Nayara just now. So if you host everything in a single platform, and if that platform dies, or if that platform goes down, so it will
Mhm.
become I mean, it will become impossible for a company to recover, because their
Yeah.
data is hosted there, everything is hosted there, right?
Mhm.
So that's a challenge why people are still thinking about Fabric and they are not yet ready to move into Fabric. The other reason is, it is associated with cost. Okay, so
Gotcha.
when we talk about data, cost is one of the most important factor that we should consider. If we make our data available in a different place, and if we start processing it, we can decide the cost. Okay, we can
Okay.
decide a cheap solution to host our data. We can decide a cheap solution to process it. So we have opportunity to decide on different aspects of this data movement. If we host everything in Fabric, we have to start paying to Fabric for everything. All right. So
Mhm.
the cost is also another factor why people are thinking about moving to Fabric. Um, Other than that, like we discussed, hosting everything in single platform also has its disadvantages, and like we discussed, Fabric is still a baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And once we completed this course, like what certification we can get that one
Yeah.
in the Azure platform?
So first thing, I would recommend you to start off with DP 900. So which is Azure
Okay.
Data Fundamentals. I am myself
Mhm.
certified in DP 900. It would be
Mhm.
it would cover everything that you need about data as a beginner. Okay, because
Okay.
you need to understand what services are available in Azure, what is the purpose of each and every service in Azure, how it is related to the data domains, right? So this
Mhm.
certification is going to give you a complete understanding of what each service means in Azure with respect to data. It is specific to data.
Okay.
If you are going to do a Azure fundamentals, there is also Azure fundamentals called AZ 900. If you do
Okay.
a AZ 900 course, the problem is that it is going to cover things that are not related to data. It is going to
Okay.
give you an entire
Mhm.
perspective of Azure, which we generally don't prefer. So I prefer going with DP 900 as a first step, and then moving ahead, we have different certifications on PySpark, on Databricks. You could pick, depending on your target role, you could pick
Okay.
PySpark developer or a Databricks data engineer. Databricks data engineer certification is the most in-demand certification today. We'll
Okay.
talk about that in upcoming sessions on why Databricks is leading and how it is changing the way data is accessed. But yeah, those are some of the certifications that you can look at. DP 900 is a must. Um,
Sure.
Okay, guys, let's continue with this. So I was talking about the expectations of the industries today. So what happened to earlier is that we used to have some Power BI dashboards. We used to refresh it once in a day or twice in a day, or maybe twice in a week, something like that. Whenever we used to get data, we used to update it. But today the scenario is different. People are expecting the dashboards to refresh on a real-time basis, right? So what they are trying to do is they are going to ask us to prepare some pipelines that can move data as soon as they are updated in the database, and then immediately it should flow till Power BI dashboard to refresh it. So they could see a real-time analytics, right? So that is another reason why data engineering is growing fast. The dashboards are being refreshed with the data that we are preparing. Even though there is data analyst who is taking that activity, but he is also dependent on a data engineer to provide the data. So that's how important data engineering is. Also, the last point that I would like to touch base on is the security. So most of the times, the expectation from the industry is that the architecture that we are going to prepare should be foolproof. I mean, it shouldn't fail at all. We cannot compromise on the architecture that we are going to prepare, right? The Lakos architecture, we'll talk about it in the upcoming slides. Okay, so that is one of the reasons why the data engineering is in demand. Now we talked about the course, and we'll talk about what are the expectations from this course. So we are going to start off with the foundations. When I say foundations, we are going to talk about how data is stored in the on-premises servers, what are data centers, how a file is being processed when we store it in hard disk, right? How the data flow happens in a data warehouse, in a data lake house. Okay, we are going to cover every single foundational topic about data. Then we'll talk about the introduction of Azure and why we need Azure, and what is the purpose of moving data from your on-premises data centers to Azure. How is cost related scenarios handled? How is performance related scenarios handled? What are some of the challenges that we are facing in the on-premises systems? Okay, we are going to touch base on all of those topics, and then we are going to start about understanding the basic Azure services. Like we have resource groups, we have subscriptions, we have users, we have IAM policies that define what users should have what access, right? We are going to touch base on some of the basic Azure topics, and then we are going to hit on the Azure services for data. Okay, like which service should be used if we want to store a PDF file, if you want to store a CSV file, a text file, how are those classified? I know, and what are some of the rules that we need to follow in terms of accessing these Azure services? All of this will be covered in the Azure services class. Then we are going to have a deep dive understanding of pipeline design. We are going to talk about what a pipeline is, how the pipelines are built in the industry, how Azure Data Factory is going to derive these pipelines, and how it is going to solution or give a solution about our requirements to a pipeline and what are its parameters, how to create a basic pipeline in Azure Data Factory. The reason we are starting with Azure Data Factory instead of any complex topic is that, uh, this course is designed for somebody who is new to Azure, right? So Azure Data Factory gives you an advantage of uh, using a low code software. So it is a low code service, which means that within UI, you can build a pipeline with less code. Okay, we are going to talk about its advantages, but just to give you an overview of Azure Data Factory, it is one of the best solutions if you want to use less code and still build a pipeline. Okay, that's going to be our focus. Then we are going to talk about some SQL. When I say SQL, it is going to be SQL Server because we are looking at Azure. And then we are going to talk about Spark fundamentals, why we need a Spark, and what is the difference between running a file on Pandas versus PySpark. We discussed it a few minutes ago, but we are going to deep dive into how it is going to change the way we are processing the data, right? So we are also going to talk about how Spark manages the memory, how we are going to, create the Spark clusters, how we are going to process the data. We are going to talk about all of the transformations in Spark. So it is going to be a deep dive. and we are going to touch base on pandas a bit. We are going to talk about pandas transformations there, and we are going to compare the pandas code versus Spark code so that you understand it better. But that's going to be our focus there. And then we'll start off with Databricks. Databricks is the most important technology today. So we will talk about what are the advantages of using Databricks, how data is going to be processed with and without Databricks, how Databricks is allowing us to govern the data. We talked about GDPR and all, right? So we'll talk about how Databricks is going to give you an advantage of data governance, and what are the cost associated factors with Databricks. Databricks is expensive, right? So we will talk about how we can prevent the running of costs using Databricks. There is a Unity catalog concept which is driving crazy in the industry today. So Unity catalog is one of the best solutions to multiple challenges in data engineering. So we are going to cover about that aspect as well. Okay, then we are going to finish all of this with a good, amazing case study. I don't want to call it a project. I'd like to call it a case study. So we are going to talk about a problem, and then we are going to prepare a solution to handle this problem. Okay, so that is going to be there at the end, and within while we are doing this project, we are going to discuss about how a data engineering role is defined in the industry, how a requirement will come to you. Like, let's say there is a data engineering problem. They are going to, in an organization, they want to move a data from system A to system B. Who is going to tell you that there is a requirement? Who is going to give you the details of the requirement? Who is going to talk about the pipeline design? So we are going to talk about all of the roles that are involved or that are closely related with the data engineering. Okay. So any questions here, guys?
Yes, I have a question. So when we finish this course,
Mm-hmm.
what will be the amount of experience that we can say we have? Can we say that we have like 3 years of experience or 5 years of experience? How can we prove that?
Good question. I recommend you say at least 5 years of experience. The reason I'm saying that is we are going to do a deep dive. When I say deep dive, we are going to touch base on a topics, on all these topics that are used in the industry. And the second thing is, there is no difference between a 3 year or a 5 year or a 7 year data engineer in the industry today. It just depends on the complexity of the project, right? So if you can handle a better project, you are a 7 year experienced guy. If you can handle a intermediate project, you are a 5 year experienced guy. See, data engineering role is not going to change for the in terms of experience, but I would prefer saying 5 year or a 5 year experience because we are transitioning, right? So we cannot quote a bit higher. We still need to have that practice in place to quote higher, but 5 year experience would be suitable for this course. Anything above, anything close to 4 to 5 years is ideal. I don't want to say 3 years because what happens is that in the industry, a data engineering project stays from 6 months to 1 year. So if you quote yourself as a 3 year guy, maybe you would have worked on 2 to 3 projects at max, right? So it would not add much value. So I recommend saying quoting 4 to 5 year experience.
Okay. One more question is, like in this course, how big of a data we will be handling? Is it like will be in terabytes, and or is it going to be in petabytes? What's the volume of the data that we are going to be handling here?
Good question. So the scenarios are going to be covered on a sample data. However, I can teach you how to generate massive amounts of data for practice. Okay, and then while you are practicing, you could actually implement that. Okay, what I'm trying to say is, when we attend the interview, right? So we are going to we will be given a sample data. Okay, they are going to give you a Python list, and then they are going to ask, when you transform this to a data frame, tell me how we can optimize this. Okay, so they are going to give you a sample data in the interviews, which is why we are going to touch base on sample data. However, I will give you a option of generating massive amount of data by yourself by running a Python code. So I have some Python code that I will share it with you guys. So while you are practicing, you can run that code on your services that you are going to use, and then it is going to give you 100 GB or 200 GB. You can define the size. Okay, when you
Nice.
define the size, it is going to give you that much amount of data to practice. Okay. For
Yes.
practicing, it will be a sample data because we want to, address all of the challenges that we look at data, right? So um, it will be tough if we go with a huge amount of data today, but I'll give you the code that will generate massive amounts of data for your practice.
Okay, I think it is very important because I'm pretty sure that it's going to be a, top one interview question about how we going to process the huge amount of data.
Yes. For that reason, what we are going to do is we are going to generate those scenarios. Okay, so let's say we are talking about a skewness. Skewness means data is not distributed properly. Okay, so one of the computer or node, we call it as a node. One of the node is having so much of information, and one of the node is having very less information. So the data distribution is abnormal. So we will create that scenarios in the course, and we will see how we can address that. But like I said, the scenarios will be discussed and you just have to mimic it on the big data. Okay, you
Okay,
just have to, the answer is same, the scenario is same, irrespective of data, right? So we are going to touch base on all of those scenarios, which you are going to see on a big data.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. What other questions we have?
But I'm kind of still curious how we are going to finish this in 30 days. That's the main concern I have.
Yeah, I mean, it comes with practice as well, right? So if you can prioritize yourself for 30 days, if you can give yourself some more time to practice, we can finish it. I mean, this is not my first batch, and I mean the course is getting updated, but the number of days are same. I mean, even I have done this for previous batches, so we are going to do this, and it is possible. It's just that you will have to give yourself some more time and some more priority on this course for these 30 days. So you are completely available and dedicated to this course, which will eventually, complete this course. That's fine. It's on me. I mean,
Okay,
even if you think that, uh, let's say you need me to go a bit slow on a particular topic, or if you want me to continue explaining same topic on 2 or 3 days, it's okay. If even if it is getting delayed by 1 or 2 days or 5 days, we will take it. I mean, 30 days is the design of this course. We believe that 30 days is enough. If you think you need some more time for any other topic in between the course, we can discuss it in the session itself that, okay, you need extra session or you need extra discussion, and I mean, we can postpone this. We can
okay,
extend it. That's an option.
okay. If you give that confidence, then it's good.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. This is not a predefined template, guys. This is something that is a foundation. Okay, this is our expectation. The reality could be different. There are multiple experienced individuals with different domains of experience, right? They are coming into this course. So it is my job to meet the expectations of every single individual. So what I'm going to do is while we are doing this course, eventually we will try to understand the concepts. In case if you feel that you need some more time, you need some more understanding, you need a revisit of any topic, we can still continue discussing about the same topic for multiple days. Okay. This course can go beyond 30 days as well. However, it depends on the audience. Okay. If there is a demand that that we need to deep dive into some of the services, if you need more help, then we can go beyond 30 days as well. It is open. Okay. Yeah. What other questions we have?
So, are we going to practice everything in the Azure platform? This one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
How much credits do we need to do a better practice?
So there are multiple aspects on this. So I recommend you create Azure pay as you go account. So it is not going to cost much for all of the services. Like for example, Data Factory is super cheap. Okay.
Mhm, mhm.
It is not going to cost a lot. Storage is also cheap because it's a data lake. That's not going to cost a lot. The only challenge is when we use Databricks. Databricks has now, I mean, in the recent, in 2025, what they have done is they used to have a free edition called Community Edition. There itself, you have an option to practice a lot. But what they have done in 2025 is they have modified that free edition to something else, and they have stopped giving access to practicing Spark and SQL. Okay, so Databricks is going to be something that we need to create in Azure as a pay-as-you-go model. So it is going to incur some cost.
Okay. On
Other than
average, how much we can expect?
yeah, so I am going to give you some insights on how we can regulate the cost, how to set alerts, I know how we can reduce the overall cost, but it again totally depends on how much time you are spending on the Databricks.
Okay, got
Okay,
you.
so I recommend let's not uh, create a Databricks service until unless we reach there.
Mhm.
Okay, so in the initial 4 weeks, let's not create anything for Databricks because that is going to incur cost. Once we reach there, I am going to create Databricks service and then we will continue practicing as we move along that particular week.
Sure.
Yeah, Deepak, go ahead.
I thought there is also a way for us to connect a community edition with um, our Azure subscription, so that we don't have to create the Databricks service, if I'm not wrong.
You are right, but the challenge is that this used to happen before 2025. So I'm not sure if you are following this. There is a recent data and AI summit happened for Databricks, and they have made significant inventions in this. So what they have done is they have created some new tools like Lake Connect, Lake Flow, something like that, which we are going to talk about. In addition to the new things, what they have done is they have changed this community edition. So what they have done is earlier we used to have community edition to create Spark notebooks. We used to write Spark code. We used to process the data within community edition. But recently what they have done is they have stopped giving access to Spark clusters and all. What they have done is they have allowed you to write only SQL codes. Okay, they have given you access to SQL warehouses, and using those SQL warehouses, you could write some SQL code in the notebooks. That's the latest update. However, what we will do is when we reach to a Databricks uh, week, what we are going to do in that particular week is there is a way to go back to the previous version of Databricks Community Edition. Okay, so we are going to try that. If it works, we are going to use the previous community edition. Okay, but the current version is not going to support a free practice on the data. It is only going to allow you to write in SQL. You could try that after this session, but we'll have to see how we can go to the previous version and then create a community edition. We'll talk about that as we progress, but for till week 5, we are not going to practice Databricks, and that's completely fine. It's okay. You know, that should be fine. What other questions you have?
What is the recommended hardware configuration for this course?
You mean the computer configuration?
Right.
To be honest, there is no such requirement because everything that we are going to do is within the cloud. I mean, when I say cloud, we are going to practice stuff in the cloud. So you actually don't require any specifications on your computer. It's good if you have a 4 GB RAM. I recommend having a 4 GB RAM and anything greater than 500 GB hard disk. But like I said, it's not needed because you don't download the data, you don't upload the data. You just use Azure. Yeah, Deepak.
And it's
Um,
platform agnostic, right?
Sorry.
I mean, it's not dependent on any platform. It's platform agnostic.
Yes, yes. But we recommend using Windows laptop because this is a Microsoft Azure service, right? So we are going to have some dependencies with your personal laptop, right? So I recommend using Windows laptop. If you are already using Mac, I have another option for you. That's fine. But if you have Windows, then that's preferred.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Yeah, I
You,
have a Mac.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
no
think
problem.
we maybe need to use a Docker something for that.
Yeah, I am also using Mac. So I'll give you a solution, no problem. We will manage it. Uh,
And there is another constraint in my Mac. This is not a latest and greatest Mac. This is an Intel one,
okay.
and on operating system Ventura, I think on 12.7.6. So I cannot even use MySQL Community Edition, version 9 and above.
Yeah. So in the App Store, do you see an app called Windows app?
So you
If
mean
you, yeah.
these parallels?
Yeah, Parallels or Windows app. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a virtual machine in Azure. It is dead cheap. That's what I do. So we can create a virtual machine and we can use it in our Mac. Okay. And even that is limited, guys. I mean, we don't need it every single day. We only need it when we are doing the project and when we are talking about Azure Data Factory. And hardly you would need it for 3 to 4 days, and while you are practicing you can just create and then delete. Okay, so that's how I am managing, and it is manageable. It's not going to incur so much of cost.
Yeah.
That's to be honest, Windows parallels, right?
Yes, yes.
And you are comfortable with that.
Sorry.
And you are comfortable with that, with the
Yes, yes.
navigation.
I'm going to show you as well. I mean, we are going to discuss this offline. I can even show you how I am doing it, and then maybe you will become comfortable. Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, Deepak.
yes, I have a question regarding the project that we are going to be doing. Um, so this is going to be a migration project from on-prem to cloud, right?
Yes.
In addition to this, is it also possible for you to give us some extra projects so that we can work on uh, the project ourselves, so that we'll have like more variety of the kind of projects that we are going to do, and different data sets or things like that?
Yeah, so good question. So the real world project is going to be an activity at the end, but meanwhile, while we are doing the other modules, I'll definitely share the case studies to practice SQL, to case studies to practice PySpark. Also we are going to talk about some of the basic pipelines that you can implement using Azure Data Factory. For example, let's say this is one of the projects that we are going to build apart from the last project module. Okay, so while we are doing Azure Data Factory, we can also talk about a scenario where you have CSV, JSON, and Excel files in a folder, but you want to move only CSV files. Okay, so this could be a project, right? So we can focus on moving only specific pattern based files. We want to move only files that were uploaded today and not yesterday. So all of these project ideas I'm going to give you while we are doing this for your practice. So you are aware of all these things. So we are going to have small projects in between, but it is going to start from a week 3. Okay, in the first 2 weeks, it is going to be somewhat theoretical because your basic concept should be solid before we start practicals. So starting from week 3, we are going to cover some small projects and we are going to talk more practical based points rather than theory. So we are good with the
Okay.
small projects. Yeah. Okay, guys, let me move on. So these are some of the data engineering job statistics. If you see, This is some of the information that I have prepared today as we are talking, right? So SQL is a must. So we need it for sure. Python, like I said, it's only used for PySpark. Even Spark supports SQL, so it's optional for you to use PySpark. But it is good to have a basic knowledge in Python, like creating lists, creating a dictionary, and how will you process the data in pandas. If possible, pandas practice in is a good option, and maybe understanding of creating variables, for loops, if else, all of those. Apache Spark, we are going to do a deep dive on Apache Spark right from the scratch. So we are good with this. It's okay. You need not to be aware of this. Databricks also, we are going to start from the scratch. So we are good. So these are some of the skill trends that we observed and that market says about data engineering. And it is huge. I mean, today, even in abroad, it is huge, right? There is huge demand on this data engineering roles. Okay. Then these are some of the strategies we recommend for you to follow. We call it as SWOT analysis if you are already aware. So we have a detailed overview of each and every Azure service. So we are good with that. We have a 30-day program. We have hands-on projects as well, small projects. We are going to see how to navigate between services and all. So we are good there. However, we would like to focus on the time management. When I say time management, I require your at least 1 hour a day to practice whatever we are going to cover, because it is going to be super important for you to practice as we progress. So that is something that I request you to follow. So time management is going to be critical. I request you to spend at least 1 hour a day to practice whatever we are discussing. And the opportunities that we see is that generally in our previous batches as well, we recommended this best practice that all of the people who are going through this course can collaborate along, and then you can start discussing about your concerns together with other peers. You can start sharing your concerns in the groups that we have, WhatsApp groups that we have, and then you can come up with solutions yourself. That will increase confidence, that will give you some motivation. So we always recommend having a peer-to-peer collaboration, and doubt clearing sessions are going to exist on demand on weekends, on Saturday or Sunday for 1 hour or 2 hours, depending on the course, where we are and how we are progressing, what are some of the concerns that you have. Depending on the demand, we are going to have doubt clearing sessions as well. Okay, cool. So this is a basic expectation of who should take this course, but this can be taken by anybody because we are going to start from the scratch. And all we recommend is your focus and discipline towards this course. So this is how your learning journey will look like overall. I'm going to talk about the journey in detail. Okay. So first 2 weeks, we are going to touch base on all the foundations of data and Azure. Next 2 weeks, we are going to talk about how to design a pipeline using Data Factory, and how we are integrating Git with the Data Factory so we can control the versions, how it is being implemented in the industry, and various Data Factory services that we have. We are going to touch base on so many scenarios within Azure Data Factory. Okay. Now, week 5 and 6 are going to be specific on Spark, SQL, and Databricks. This is the phase where we are going to build a project using all of the topics that we have covered so far. So that's the learning journey that we have, and yeah, that's pretty much. I'm looking forward for all of you to enroll into this journey. And I also have a course curriculum that I can share. I believe you all can access this course curriculum. If not, please reach out to the admin team and they are going to share it with you guys. Okay, so this is a detailed level of what we are going to cover. Though we have seen a overview of summary, about the course, but this is going to be a detailed level of explanation on what we are going to do. If you see, we are going to talk about client server architecture as a basic, because the pattern that I see today is that people are asking basics of system design as well. Okay, they are asking how are you going to decide between a database hosted in on-prem in multiple data centers versus a single data center, kind of questions are being asked. So we thought, okay, it's good if we could cover some basics on day one. Then we will talk about why on-prem data storage gets complicated when you know when the data increases, when the volume of data increases. We will talk about each and every terminology or regarding data. All right. Um, like if you see, we are starting with compute, memory, and storage services. We'll touch base on everything, and then we'll understand the different types of data, different sources of data with different formats of data. Um, like I said, we will try to cover as much as possible on these items. If you have questions, okay, you can go through this entire curriculum. This is going to give you a confidence on the course and how we can finish it off within 30 days, what topics we cover. And if you see, everything is covered, no topic is missed. I have even provided the detail level information on what are we going to cover for each and every service. We are also covering the accesses. We are talking why we need to use the distributed storage services, what are its advantages, and then we are talking about the Azure SQL databases. If there is a need for migrating SQL tables, this is our solution, right? We are going to propose using Azure SQL. So, and if you see, there are some hands-on exercises in between. These are some of the small projects that we are going to do. If you see Azure Data Factory, again, there are some terminologies that are being used and how Azure Data Factory is going to achieve ETL with high scalability. Scalability is a topic that we'll discuss in future sessions. Okay. Then we have some of the activities within Data Factory and how we can dynamically run these pipelines. Okay. Then we'll talk about the data migration. So this is the small project that we discussed. So we are going to build a sample pipeline in the session itself. That is going to be one of the sessions. Okay. So we are going to copy the data from one place to another. And we are going to talk about how to automate the pipelines using different triggers. And then we are going to see a demo. Similarly, we have the Azure DevOps. So this is going to be a small session on DevOps, because generally there will be a DevOps team in every single company who is responsible to manage this DevOps services. But this is included as a good to know topic, okay? Because you are going to use it. So we have included it just for your information with regards to data engineering, how a data engineer uses Azure DevOps. Okay, this is not a full-fledged Azure DevOps topic. This is more related to how a data engineer uses Azure DevOps. Okay, feel free to ask any questions, guys. So this is going to be another project, if you see. Yeah, Deepak.
I wanted to check. I mean, it doesn't have to be part of the course, or maybe like if you could give us some sort of assignment or something like that, can also be a discussion. Can you also show us, if it is possible, how to scrape data from multiple sources, and we could probably use it in our pipeline, and maybe some usage of API to fetch data, these kind of things.
Okay. Because you are asking this, let's do a small project while we are talking about ADF. You could remind me a week before or a day before. I'll definitely include a scenario where we are extracting data from API directly to ADF, directly to Azure, uh, and then how we can process the API data. Okay. I am going to cover that. Though it is not mentioned here, we'll try to cover that. That's a good scenario to cover, because there is also a chance where you might be questioned about using API and scraping. We might not touch base on much on scraping, but we will definitely cover how to access API data and how to process API data using Azure Data Factory and Databricks both. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that will be part of one of these days. Yep. So we will also build a small project on day 15. This is second or third small project that we are going to do. If you see, this is where we need a Windows laptop because SHIR is something that works on Windows, that doesn't work on Mac. So even while demoing, I'll have to follow the virtual desktop. So even SSMS is going to work on Windows, only Windows. Okay, so SQL deep dive, if you see, we have everything covered from fundamentals till advanced level topics. I don't know if you are aware of anti-join and semi-join. Most of us all are already aware of left, right, inner, cross, and self. So anti and semi-join are specific to PySpark. Um, it exists in SQL in general. We can achieve it using left join and exist and not exist, but it is good to know the anti-join and semi-join. These are some of the new terms that we are going to talk. And then we are also going to talk about indexes and types of indexes, stored procedures. I know how to create a stored procedure in SSMS. This is not going to cover everything about stored procedure, but we are going to touch base on how a data engineer uses stored procedure and how much of stored procedure knowledge is required. Okay, this is not a deep dive on all this topic. This is going to cover how much a data engineer is going to use. Okay. Then we'll talk about some of the optimizing strategies, and then we'll cover some Python pandas programming, just as a refresher. We'll cover the differences and we'll try to do some data operations on pandas as a demo. Then if you see, we are going to get started with Spark and how pandas and Spark are different. Everything is included, guys. I mean, if you get a chance, if you could go through this, you will not see at least one single topic that is being excluded or that is not being covered. It's just that uh, we need to spend some additional time for practice, and this is going to help you. And like I discussed earlier, in case if you feel that we are going at a rapid pace, you could let me know and we can slow down. I mean, we can extend this beyond 30 days. Yeah, that's completely open and that's completely doable. Okay, so even if you see, we are going to talk about Databricks and how we are going to create a cluster, how we are going to define a workflow, and there are demos as well. So demo as in I am going to show you in live as to how we'll do it. We have some of the file formats and why some of the file formats are better than the other. Okay, so we have demos, we have hands-on sessions, we have some important topics like Delta Lake, Unity Catalog, then we have project kickoff. So this is more of a project kickoff. And just to tell you, we are also going to ingest real-time data, guys. So when I say real-time data, we are going to use Apache Kafka data in event hubs, and we are going to stream that data to ADLS. ADLS is like a storage account. Okay. So a storage service. So we are going to ingest the data through streams in real time. Okay. This is also included in your project. So you are going to ingest the data and you are going to save it in the ADLS. Okay. And also we are going to create some of the alerts while we are doing this. So if we want to notify somebody that we are ingesting the data, we are transforming the data, we will also try to create some alerts. Okay. So the other people are aware, right? So we are going to do all of this, and as a bonus, this is something extra and beyond what we are doing. Um, we will organize some Kahoot sessions. I don't know if you are already aware of the Kahoot sessions, but these are some of the interactive ways to challenge yourself on a particular topic. I'll try to have a Kahoot session on a weekly basis, not on a daily basis, because on a daily basis it is going to overwhelm you guys. On a weekly basis, we are going to have a Kahoot session organized for you guys, just to just as a refresher or just to brush your topics. Then we are going to have some assignments in between some sessions, because I mean, based on my understanding, there are some critical topics that you need a practice definitely. So for all those critical topics, there will be an assignment given to you to work on weekends, and then maybe we can discuss about how you approached it and all. I'm going to share some of the ebooks for free. If you look at Amazon and Flipkart or any other service, they are going to cost you around 1800 or 1700. I am going to give you such ebooks for free that are related to this course. Okay, like for example, Spark book or data engineering book, from a renowned reputed publishers. Okay, and then there will be a doubt clearing sessions on weekends, only on weekends, because on weekdays we are going to have the course. So there will be a doubt clearing session on demand. If you need a doubt clearing session, I'll organize a poll in the WhatsApp group. You can just tell me whether you need a doubt clearing session or not. Depending on the majority audience opinions, we are going to conduct a doubt clearing sessions. When I say doubt clearing sessions, it need not be about topic. It could be anything. Even if you are practicing, if you run into any issues, or if you want more understanding of any particular topic, we can host it on weekends, and then we can proceed from there. Okay. Yeah, Deepak.
What if the response for doubt clearing session is not much? What happens? Is it only dependent on the amount of people who are interested?
See, doubt clearing session is for a group. Otherwise, if you have a specific question that you would like to ask, and maybe let's say on a particular week there is no doubt clearing session, but you have doubts, you can always reach out to me, right? You can always let me know that, hey, I have this question. How can I work on this? We can always continue discussing, because it is your specific question. Or if you think that your question can be shared in the group and other audience can also go through that question, you could always just type it in the group that this is my question. How can we continue resolving this? I'll answer the question in the group itself. That okay, you can do this and this. Doubt clearing session is like a 30 minutes or a 1 hour session. So we need to have some good discussion, right? We cannot discuss on one or two doubts for 30 minutes or 1 hour. Okay. So if the majority are feeling that they have questions, they need to talk, we can have a doubt clearing sessions. If you think that you have multiple questions, it's okay. You can let me know on a one-to-one basis, or um, you can just type it in the group. As you practice, you can type it in the group, and I'll definitely answer the question.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay. What other questions you have, guys?
Hi, this
See,
is Atul here.
yeah.
Um, just in case, right? Maybe I have a travel plan actually for third week and fourth week. So just in case if I'm missing the session, right? Is there a way that we can cover it up, or do you record the sessions? You share the sessions? How can we plan
Yes.
it?
Yes, good question. So we are going to record each and every single session. Okay, it will be hosted in live, but in case if you are not able to make it, there will be a recording session that will be available with the admin team. Once you have made the requirements, once you have passed the requirements, you can just ask them, and they are going to share it. Every single day, they are going to share the recordings with you to continue following. And what I would recommend is, generally that is another best practice that I recommend to follow. Um, Please do not look at 10 different places for a particular topic to learn. Okay, while you are practicing, it's quite possible that we ask ChatGPT, we ask Google, we ask AI and other stuff on a particular topic to get a complete perspective. But my recommendation is, if you could go through this recording twice or thrice, it would be completely easy and it would be simple, because we are going to touch base from end to end. Okay, so to answer your question, it will be recorded and it will be shared with you.
Thanks, man. And the other question which I'm having is, see, I am not from the data engineering background. I'm totally core into um, the deployment perspective. I'm going to say the Azure admin and the AWS or the Kubernetes, Terraform, another thing, right? I'm totally from the banking background.
Got
So I'm
it.
not sure whether this is going to relevant to me. I'm still confused whether to, because from learning perspective or from hands-on perspective, right? I want to learn, but I'm not sure about the data engineering side, right? Because it is totally different path, right? So I'm still confused whether I should proceed with it or not to continue it. What do you think about this one, right?
We need to connect on an individual basis about this because you have a
Yeah,
different role. You are doing a different job, right? So we can connect offline and we can go
yeah,
through this together to understand how this is relevant to your current role and how this is going to upskill you and how this is going to help you if you are going doing a career transition. But that should be a one-on-one discussion.
sure,
Yeah,
absolutely.
or you
So yeah,
could,
we'll
yeah,
text you. Yeah,
yeah, you could reach out to the admin team as well, and maybe they'll also share their perspective. But this has to be going offline, right? Okay.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you, man.
Yeah. What other questions we have, guys? I actually thought of discussing a few other topics today, but unfortunately, we are running out of time. So we are going to start our sessions tomorrow. Okay. And we are going to start with this demystifying system design. We are going to talk about, I'm just showing you a glimpse of what we are going to do tomorrow. Give me 1 second. You see this pictures, right? So I have prepared, I have prepared this. Um, so we could discuss what is the role of data analyst, what is the role of data engineer, how data engineer is related to some of the other roles in a pictorial way. I think this is a beautiful way to cover how a particular role works. And from here, we are going to start tomorrow. We are going to then talk about how client server architecture is going to be implemented, how data centers come into picture, and so on and so forth, guys. So just giving you a glimpse of these pictures, they are beautiful, and we will continue with this. Okay, what other questions you have, guys? I have stopped sharing the screen. Let me also pause the recording.